This is an overcooked rib. Fall off the bone might sound great, but tastes like wet meat noodles. Flavors are all there, but the textures, they're just wrong. Perfect ribs should leave a bite mark. Clean, juicy, and tender, but still with some structure. And today, I'm gonna show you how to get that in your oven. Personally, I'll easily face a whole rack, and I'm all about that St. Louis style rib. Put them onto a foil-lined tray, and you can use your favorite fully seasoned pre-made rib rub, but I make my own sweet, smoky, lightly spicy house rub. Full recipe is in the description. Give these a really heavy dusting of whichever rub you're using and let them sit for 30 minutes for all the salt and sugar to get all of the flavors to really penetrate into the meat. While that's sitting, I'm gonna get a jump start on my favorite barbecue sauce. Turn your broiler on and throw a red onion under it to char and blacken the outside while the inside gets beautifully smoked. After the ribs have sat for 30, throw them directly under your broiler to get a deep, almost burnt caramelization on both sides and really develop those flavors. All of the caramelization around this counts. When we wrap it and steam it in the oven, all of this is gonna cook down into its own sauce and coat the rib. So just because there's only a couple of black spots on the rib itself, you don't need to leave this in your broiler until the entire thing is very dark brown. Turn the oven down to 350 degrees and let the ribs rest for a few minutes while the oven cools down. Then wrap the foil around the rib tightly and pop them back in the oven for exactly 1.5 hours. I've seen recipes that call for 2.5 or even 3.5 hours in the oven. This is great for pulled pork, but ribs, they need restraint. Cook them that long and all of that connective tissue around the bone turns into gelatin, and then the meat just slides off into mush. Then you'll end up with a mouthful of cartilage or bone fragments, and honestly, that is not the way I want to spend my dinner. But if you cook these just right, I'm going to end up with a juicy and tender cap of meat over the top, but that bone is going to hold on to all of the stuff you do not want to chew on. While those are cooking, let's get back to that onion and finish this barbecue sauce. Cut the ends off, and then squeeze cooked onion in there. Throw this right into the blender with basically a whole bottle of ketchup. Take a nice big handful of the rib rub. Don't be shy. Good couple of shakes of cider vinegar and the juice of half of a lemon. This burnt onion might look intimidating, but when you think about it, it's actually much easier than anything you could do in a pan. And because the flavors are so delicious, it does all the heavy lifting in the sauce, which has very few ingredients and is very easy to put together. Once your rib timer goes off, unwrap it, and all of that caramelization is cooked out into its own sauce, which is why you want to go for that deep char in spots. I like to slice them into individuals and put them into a bowl and toss them with plenty of sauce. Oh, that's so good. That, my friends, is a sign of a perfectly cooked rib. That rub and char and sauce with that perfect texture, it all comes together to be a pretty delicious rib, if I don't say so myself. Couldn't bring myself to overcook a full rack, but I did overcook half of it just to show you the difference. I don't even want to eat that. I mean, look at that. What is that? I don't want to eat that. But anyway, that's all for me on this one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you actually soon this time.